This is Matthew. I'm going to include my cell phone number for you to reach out to me if you got any questions. But what I'm going to do here is give a detailed mock-up of what we're dealing with this leaking glass. And then to show you the drawing as well as the problems and the challenges you'll face with this thing here. So this is the drawing I'll send to you. Shows this block here, representative of the outer wall of the pool. This is the steel U-channel frame that's continuous around the glass. This is the acrylic glass, and this black squiggly, that's the caulking, and this is the poly shim tape. This is the cap steel and the fasteners. So what I've done here is made a mock-up. Obviously, this is the glass, cap steel. They're held on by the stainless steel nuts or bolts. So when they come off, you're left with the steel U-channel frame, continuous around the glass, and it's basically flush with the glass. Now the blue that you see, this line here, is the poly shim tape. I'm just, for the mock-up, I'm showing it as this foam tape, and it's put onto the pool, which is representative of this white frame I've made here. So about an eighth or a quarter inch down from the leading edge of the pool. So the tape was put on first, and then a bead of sealer, which would be my foam rod. I'm making that as my seal. So that went around the frame. Right, and then if I could get that to stay, just give me a sec here. Okay, sorry about that. So the sealer went on. The window was squished into the sealer. There was some gap around the frame, not much. And then after the fact, once the glass was installed, we added a face bead of caulking to the outside. And that's where the video is showing where the water's leaking through. So once we had first water tested it and found that there was a water leak, we removed the steel U-channel frame that was continuous around the glass, first taking off the cap steel, right? And that's just a decorative piece to hide all the glue and all the rest of it. Took those off, and then we removed this whole frame off, but you got to be careful when you're removing that, but I'll explain that later. So we removed that and then added another bead of sealer underneath, all the way around, squeezing it in as much as we could. Then we put the steel U-channel frame continuous around the glass back into place. And here's where the challenge comes, because when we did that, that piece would have went into some, applied sealant. So That's going to be the tricky part. Then we put the cap on. The cap will have, the cap steel have nothing sealing it on. It's just decorative, like I say. So you'll have no problem taking that off. When you're removing this glass, removing this steel U-channel frame, that would be the first thing you're gonna have to do to take off the glass. You're gonna have to get rid of the steel U-channel frame around the glass first. The problem being is that inside, in between the glass and the frame, you're gonna have to cut that somehow. Maybe a orbital tool, I would forget what they call it. It's a vibrating tool or a reciprocating saw or a grinder, but you're gonna have to get in around that glass to get this piece to let go. Once this thing comes off like a picture frame, you'll have access to the edge of the glass. And then it should be relatively straightforward to cut through that, right? Getting rid of all the sealants. And then the glass can be removed. Now, once the glass is removed, you know, set it aside. You're gonna have to clean it good before you put it back on, but I would recommend putting it back on in reverse, because the side that was glued is gonna be all mucked up. And there's gonna be probably no hope of getting that pristine clean, but the other side, the side that was originally on the side that was originally on the inside of the pool is untouched by caulking. There's nothing on it. So it'll be easy to clean that, flip it around. All the mucked up side will be hidden by the cap steel in the frame anyways. So that's basically it. Yeah, and the Polyshim is an 1/8 of an inch thick tape, so you should be able to easily, once you get started, get a reciprocating saw, maybe with a metal cutting blade, and it should burn around that pretty easily. Like I say, the hard part is going to be getting this steel U-channel continuous frame off first, and then it should be not an issue. And as you're doing touch-ups to the pool liner anyways, I would say go to town, but take off that steel U-channel carefully, because I think it has stainless steel bolts holding it on, so you're not going to want to pull off like one side first and torquing it. You're going to have to wiggle it and get it to come off, you know, straight, so that you don't ruin the bolts. That's a whole nother ball of wax. All right, like I say, I'll send you this video, and hopefully this mock-up makes sense with this drawing. And then I'll include my cell phone number. You can give me a call. Okay, thanks a lot.